Hi all, welcome to the L-Cube Show. Today's guest is Dr. Sanjay Raghav, who is a neurologist working in Melbourne, Australia. He is a devotee of Ramana Maharshi, who is also known as Bhagavan. I'm sure we don't need introduction for Bhagavan or Ramana Maharshi. Most of you who are in your spiritual journey or devotional must have heard about Ramana Maharshi. He's a great saint, sage, or god, or a guru who lived in Tirunamalai, which is in Tamil Nadu. Tirunamalai is a spiritual destination for a lot of saints and sages, and it's also the home of Lord Shiva. It's one of the 5 element lingas of Lord Shiva, which is also known as the fire linga, and in Arunachalam, which is also called as Tirunamalai. The hill itself, it's just like Kailash, the hill itself is Lord Shiva. It's considered as Lord Shiva, and people do parikramas and pradakshinas to the hill. So Ramana Maharshi was a sage who lived until 1950 in Tirunamalai, which is Arunachalam. He has taught his devotees about inner journey, which is the self journey. So today in this podcast, we are going through a spiritual journey. Please watch the podcast until the end. It's really going to be divine and serene. And I hope you all get the blessings of Lord Arunachala and Ramana Maharshi. Please do subscribe to the L-Cube Show, because we are bringing a lot of interesting guests onto the show, and they're putting their lot of efforts into it, and we're doing all our hard work. Please do subscribe to the show and watch till the end. Podcasts these days are like reading a book. Podcast is a different form of reading a book. Instead of reading a book, you can just listen to a podcast. You don't have to watch a podcast. You just have to listen while working or while doing something. Podcasts are really trending these days because it has lots of information, particularly the L-Cube Show. We are trying to learn together. So I'm trying to learn with you together. So let's get into the show, and please do not forget to subscribe and ask your friends and family to subscribe. Thank you so much. Let's get into the show now. Thank you. Hi, Sanjay. Namaste. Welcome to the L-Cube Show.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks for
I'm really glad you're here with Bhagavan. Thank you so much. Love the picture you have there of Bhagavan. So I'm saying Bhagavan, you know whom we are talking about today. On the show, we are going to talk about Ramana Maharshi. I'm sure for the viewers, it's not someone we have to introduce to. Like everyone knows Ramana Maharshi. He is from Tirunamalai. He's a great sage, or beyond that, who lived in Tirunamalai, and whose samadhi and his ashram is there in Tirunamalai. Tirunamalai is also known as Arunachalam. That's where the one of the Pancha Lingas, right? 5 elements of Shiva links. The fire linga. So the Arunachala is the fire linga, and Ramana Maharshi has been driven to the Tirunamalai, Arunachala Shiva, whom he called as Father and Appa. So from here, I'm going to let Sanjay take on, and I'm sure nobody needs introduction about Ramana Maharshi and Bhagavan. So we're going to speak about Bhagavan today by his blessings and by Arunachala Shiva's blessings. So Sanjay, please start by telling your connection with Bhagavan and how you are in connection with him and how it all started for you.
So Pratisha, the connection with Bhagavan was there from childhood, not as Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, but the God within. And always looking inquisitive about that absolute, in different ways. And in India, as you know, we get so much at home. Mother is devotee of Shiva, father devotee of Hanuman. There is always so much of atmosphere at home from which you can imbibe. You can just get things.
You can pick what you want. You can just pick what you want.
Yeah, you can pick and choose, or if you don't want to pick, nobody is forcing you. This is the thing about Sanatan Dharma. There's a lot of variety, and you can pick and choose, and nobody asks anyone else what you do. Nobody forces upon you anything, and this is the beauty of it. And you can say anything about anything. You can have any concepts. Nobody says anything. So there's so much of freedom in spirituality, which is the most important thing if you want to grow. Yes. When it becomes rigid, when it becomes narrow, that flowering doesn't happen. It does not happen in age. It happens in openness.
Yes.
And so that openness was there, and I was very much influenced in my initial days by Ramakrishna
Yeah.
Paramahansa, Vivekananda.
So can I ask before we jump in, where are you from in India? Like which state?
From Delhi. Delhi.
Delhi. Have you like you know Bhagwan when you're in as a child as well?
No, not at that time. That's what I'm
At
saying.
all.
So
Yeah. So that's what yeah.
initially it was Ram, Krishna, Hanumanji keeping
Okay. Okay. And
Tuesday.
you're saying about Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Yeah, please. Sorry, I interrupted. Sorry.
Tuesday fasting and all those things were happening, and then this longing kept getting more and more, and I was associated with Ramakrishna Mission for a very long time. When I moved to Australia in 2003, I was given details of the Sydney Ramakrishna Mission details.
At what age, can I ask, what age did the connection with Ramakrishna Mission or with Ramakrishna Paramahansa started for you? At what age?
Oh, look, I must be in my 19 or 20 in my early days. Yeah, just started college. So,
What caused it? Can I ask, Sanjay?
oh, just
Book or
I had interest all my life, like at home, just to know the
you
God.
were
I
curious?
believe
You're just curious, and then maybe
very
you're the
curious
first
thing
one.
because everyone was talking about that at home. My grandmother was an Arya Samaji, so Arya Samajis are more believe in Vedas.
Yes.
So, and then I found Ramakrishna Mission as a very good sounding platform where the people are literate, they know about Vedas, and I learned a lot from them.
Yeah.
So I was studying my neurology training, doing DM in Lucknow, where they had a Ramakrishna Mission ashram in Lucknow, and the Swamiji.
Okay, I have to intervene. So I never knew your profession. So can I ask, what do you do?
I'm a neurologist.
You're a neurologist. Viewers, I know this for the first time too. We just connected on with the Bhagavan level. I didn't know this. You're a doctor.
Yeah. So there I got in touch with the Swami Muktinath Nandaji, very, very literate, very noble soul. And he gave me all the literal knowledge about Vedas. We used to go for a walk after dinner. I used to go to Ramakrishna Mission Ashram there. And then when I finished my training, I joined Vivekananda Hospital there in Lucknow.
Mm-hmm.
And they have a very good hospital run by all the swamis. When I moved here, he gave me details. So Swamiji used to come from Sydney to give lectures, and then gradually Chinmaya Mission also came into being. The kids went to Chinmaya Mission, in Melbourne, and they had kids classes and all those things. So met a lot of people, a lot of information, and doing my own sadhana. And then this just transformation happened by the God's grace, and I found that bliss and peace. And now I wanted to share that and wanted to understand what it is. Previously, I was looking for it, but now I have no idea what it is.
Okay.
And that was the time when I was told by a couple of different people within 2 days' time about Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi. So at that time, I was doing a yoga course. So what happened was I was in Bangalore doing a yoga course. So one of these ladies, she was from Andhra, and she wanted to some advice about her disease. So I just gave her advice, and she wanted to give me some money or gift for my services. I said, look, I'm just a student here, so there's no need to give me anything. She said, give me your email, I'll give you something. I'll send you something. And I gave my email, and she sent me a soft copy of a book on Bhagwan Sri Ramana Maharshi in English, written by her father-in-law. So father-in-law wrote, I think, something in Telugu, and then he also wrote in English. And in that book, he was comparing Bhagwan with Dakshinamurti. And at that time, I had no clue who was Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi and what is this all about. She sent me and she said, you read it. It is something very good. It is not even published. You read it, and then you will find
Which year was this in?
I have to guess. I think maybe 2014 or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So she told me this, and then maybe next day there was another old man who said you should go to Ramana Ashram. Ramana Ashram is the place to go. What you are feeling, what is happening to you, you will get all the answers there only. And then someone else said, have you been to Tirunamalai? And I could not correlate all these places like Ramana Ashram, Tirunamalai, and that book about Ramana Maharshi. But all that came all together. And then what happened was, it keep going in my mind that if this person has said go to Ramana Ashram, there must be some truth. He was in, I think, 86 years of age. And he said, it's the most pure place you can find on earth, if you go. And what you are feeling, you will get all the solutions. And I said, whom should I talk there. He said, no, you just go there. No need to talk to anyone. You just go there. And then fortunately, within next 6 months, there was a conference in Chennai. So from Australia, I went to Chennai to attend the conference, and I realized it's not far from Chennai.
Yes.
But I went there, stayed there for a couple of nights, and that was the end of the story. Like, it was all what was all experiential, what was happening in the body and all that experiences, and what was it all just, like, you can say that it settled everything in the most beautiful way, doing pradakshina of Arunachala, staying there and just getting absorbed in that. And then I have never read about Bhagwan's teachings or anything. It was just that going there sorted out everything.
So you didn't read the book before you went?
No, I had no clue what he said or what he preached. I just went there. And
can I ask, what was your feeling when you did not know anything about Arunachalam or Tirunamala? Let's say Arunachalam, because Tirunamala is Arunachalam. You didn't know anything. It's just a place, geographical place. You went there. You saw a hill. Shiva is in the hill form in Arunachalam. What is your first experience when you went into Arunachalam, and the first time when you went into Ramana ashram also? Can you please give me details?
I remember when I was going in taxi, and the taxi was approaching towards Arunachala. It was heavy rain, as if I was welcomed, and I just brought the windows down, and I just put my hands out, and I could see the mountain from a distance, when you are approaching. And I said to the driver, you just stop wherever I can see it,
the whole him, Shiva.
Yeah. And then I went inside, and it looked like I am in a different loka, or beautiful bliss, so much of bliss. I can't describe. And when I was going around the hill early morning, I could see Shiva, and then the moon, crescent-shaped moon on the top of that hill, and that beautiful moonlight, and as if he's embracing me, he's giving his darshan. It was amazing, and that bliss never went away. That happiness, that blissful, that silence which I was looking for. I think that fine tuning which was supposed to be done inside the system was done without any word, without any teaching, without any mantra, without anything, in silence, pure silence.
Completely understand. I completely understand. I'm like this the whole time. Like, this is like my favorite podcast. So I can completely understand. So for the viewers, I'm saying what he said about going around the Arunachalam Giri mountain is around 14 kilometers. People walk, they do the pradakshina or parikrama around like Kailash. How people do to the Kailash parikrama, they do it at Arunachalam. The whole mountain is considered as Shiva. He's the fire. He's in fire element there in the temple too. So how about the Ramana ashramam? That enter, and then you have peacocks. The place itself, it doesn't feel like earth. That place doesn't feel like earth.
Say a different loka, it is Shiv loka, I believe.
And then everybody who enters that gate, it's automatically calm. Everyone is calm in that place.
And you can see there squirrels, monkeys, peacock, dogs, cows, everyone. It looks like everyone is
in harmony.
Divinity, in harmony, in that peace, in that love. And there is no fear. And when you absorb that, you get merged in it. You bring that peace with you, and this is the beauty of it. It is not a hill. It is Shiva. It is
Shiva.
That pure self, pure.
It is Shiva.
And when you see from that, and then you are open to that, it sorts out everything without any teaching, without any practice.
Yes.
I would say the Bhagwan's utmost important practice is only silence. If you can understand that silence, staying in meditation hall or staying in samadhi hall or just roaming around there, that silence is there. And then if you can imbibe that silence, then there's no other teaching needed.
Yeah. And nobody asks you to do anything in Ramana ashramam. It's just everybody does things in their own way, but at the same pace with such calmness. Did you sit in the meditation hall and meditate? Did you do meditation in the meditation
hall? Yeah, I sat in the meditation hall as well. And I also went to, I would say, if the devotee goes there, you don't need a guide. Like I was thinking that who will guide where to go, what to do, but you just go random, and that randomness is the best way, I believe.
Yes.
But people who go there, I would say you go into the Ramana ashram, you will find everything: samadhi hall, meditation room, Bhagwan's mother samadhi,
Yes.
and just roam around. There is a beautiful cow shed, but also go up the hill, go to Virupaksha cave, full of energy,
Skandashramam.
and Skanda.
Skandashramam. Yes.
And then there are other places up there on the hill which you can find. Guhanima Shivaya temple is there.
Yes.
Bhagwan stayed. Mango Grove is there. Bhagwan stayed there. And of course, you have to go to the Arunachala temple.
Yes.
And then there is the Adi Annamalai temple, an old
Yes.
temple.
Yes,
You can go.
on the Girivalam route, you need to take a
Girivalam.
little deviation for Adi Annamalai temple.
And there are a lot of lingas, lot of temples. There is a lot, but I would say that first time you go, you get absorbed in
Yes.
ashram and up the hill.
Yes.
Then later on, you can explore other things. There are so many nice and beautiful temples.
Can you tell me briefly, because I want to stay in his bliss for more time. So little bit about how he came to Arunachalam and where he lived in Arunachalam.
So look, he was born, I would tell you the figure. So he was born on 30th of December, 1879, Tiruchuli, and he studied there till the age of 3. For 3 years he studied, then he moved to Madurai.
Yes.
Madurai, he went to, before Madurai, he went to Dindigul. His uncle Subayar used to live in Dindigul, where he went at the age of 11, 1890 to 1891, only for 1 year. Then what happened was he was studying there at Scott's Middle School, and then he went to, in 1891, his uncle got transferred to Madurai. So he went with uncle to Madurai, studied there at Scott's Middle School and American Mission High School. At the age of 13, his father died in 1892. So he stayed in Madurai with uncle, but the whole family was split. Some went with the other uncle. So his older brother joined him. His name was Nagaswamy. And then I want to tell you something very interesting, which I found, that there were sannyasis in his family. He took sannyas, and one of his father's brother also took sannyas.
Yes.
So it was a family.
I think his name is also Ramana Maharshi's the actual name, right? The person who took sannyasi for I think his father's brother,
Venkatraman.
Venkatraman. So I think one of his father's brother who took sannyasi, I think, is also named Venkatraman.
It could be.
I read somewhere. Yeah.
So what happened was, the most interesting fact about his life was he was just like a normal child, not much interested in studies and playing. In 1895, when he was 16 years of age, he heard the name Arunachala. One of the relatives came from, at that age, he heard the name Arunachala for the first time. When he heard the name Arunachala, he was inquisitive about it, and it looked very familiar. But he thought before that this name might be place which is not on earth. Never thought there is a place on earth which is known as Arunachala. Okay. So now the most important thing I want to bring to your notice is that he heard this name Arunachala in November 1895. And 8 months later, in July 1896, he got enlightenment. So for 8 months, that name Arunachala did all that magic within this 16 years old boy. And at that period, he read Periya Puranam, about the 63 hours. Yes. And he used to visit the Madurai temple.
So for the viewers, I'm just telling 63 Nayanars, or the Nayanars are people who worship Shiva. So particularly the 63 Nayanars, they sang about Shiva. They were the best devotees, you could say.
So then after that enlightenment, he stayed at home until end of August. So one fine day, his brother told him that you don't study, you are just keeping a book in front of you, and you are behaving like you are a sannyasi. Why don't you just leave these things then? Somehow he thought inside, yes, I should leave. And then that day, actually, immediately he left, took some few monies.
How he actually saw his dead body also, I think at one time where his...
So I would say we talk that as his experience of death experience, which brought enlightenment at that moment. He was just sitting in his room, and suddenly he was gripped by the sudden fear of death, that he might die. And that was very intense. When it came to him, He thought, let it be, let that death come, let's see what happens. And in that moment of flash, he found that the body, and he actually enacted that the body is rigid like rigor mortis, and it's stiff and it cannot move, it cannot do anything. He also imagined now this body will be taken to be burned. But then he realized that even though the body is gone, he's still there, he's alive, and that was the revelation within him through which his Manonasha happened, his mind merged into the absolute, and he realized that he is eternal and he is not the body, he is not the mind. And all this came very quickly, as Bhagwan put it down, that he explained it long, but he said this all happened so quickly. Like it was not like he was thinking and then doing or doing. He said everything just happened in a flash of second. And from that day onwards, he didn't do any tapas. Some people have very bad, wrong notion that he came to Arunachala, he did tapasya, and he got enlightenment. Nothing like that.
No.
He got everything in flash of a second, and then that energy pulled him to Arunachala to help all of us.
Yes.
Because he stayed there, he never moved to any place, and that is a blessing to us. And I think he, in a way, showed us Arunachala, that even when he is not in a body form, then there's already a form, because for people who have Deha Buddhi, they cannot just think of formless God within them or themselves as formless. So at least Arunachala Hill can help them to get back to their formless awareness. And whole his life he stayed in Arunachala. He lived in caves, he lived in temples. And then finally, when his mother passed away, when he was 43 years of age, her samadhi was built. And then he moved in 1922, which is now known as Ramana Ashram.
Yes.
So this year is actually 100 years of Ramana Ashram, which we are celebrating. This year we are celebrating 100 years of Ramana Ashram.
Oh, okay.
So 100 years occurred because the temple, the ashram came in existence because he started living there in 1922. So and recently we concluded Bhagwan's 143rd Jayanti also.
Yes.
And my suggestion is that place is only for an ardent spiritual seeker, mumukshutva, the one who is having mumukshutva bhav, who has longing to know the self. It's not a tourist place. I would not say you should go as a tourist, otherwise you will get bored.
No, yeah, you'll definitely get bored, you'll sleep.
If you go with that one-pointed aim of knowing the self, knowing the God realization, definitely it will help you more than whatever sadhana you are doing in your life. Just going in presence of Arunachala, in presence of Bhagwan. And it's not just Bhagwan who went to Arunachala and made us recognize Arunachala. Thousands and thousands of saints and sages stayed, did their tapas, were enlightened and went there, and got enlightenment when they did tapas there. And from time immemorial, including Shiva's wife, Parvati, she did tapas there. Gautama Rishi was there. And even in Bhagwan,
it's called Pachiyaman.
Yeah, but we call Parvati in the north.
Yes, yes.
So the thing is that if your aim is to connect with Bhagwan, you can connect with his picture, you can connect with his teachings. His most pertinent teaching is self-inquiry. You try to find out who you are, because we all keep playing a role in form of an ego, which is absurd, which is selfish, which is greedy, which is unhappy. But when you question that, if you intensely question, it disappears and leave you in bliss and peace and connecting you to the source. So that is his teaching. And going there, staying and meeting ardent devotees and humble people, everyone helps there, All this, it becomes like a Bhagwan's family. Everyone is connected in that. People from all over the world, they come there. You will find people from almost every country come there to visit, and some stay there longer also.
Yes. It pulls you. It's a magnetic field. I don't know how to explain Arunachala. For me, it's like, oh my God, it pulls me all the time. I think that's my destination for this life. I feel like it's my destination.
I would say buck stops there, no more search, nothing to look, seek. It is the end.
Yeah, it is the end. Yeah.
I,
So
once
for
I
the
went
for
there.
the viewers, like, do you recommend reading any books of Bhagwan? Because there is books of Who Am I and
Arya, who am I is there, self-inquiry is there, and Bhagwan didn't wrote many books,
no, I think
but I
Bhagwan didn't write any books. His devotees wrote the books.
yeah, no, Bhagwan answered, and those are written
Yes.
in book forms.
Yes.
But then there are a lot of talks, like Suri Nagamma has written, a lot of
Yes.
people have written. So you can write, you can listen to day by day talks, which people kept writing when Bhagwan was answering questions. So those are also in English, in other in Indian languages.
Yes.
You can read those, but main teaching is to understand who you are, who am I, Nanyar,
Yes.
and do this self-inquiry. And
Yes.
self-inquiry is very easy. In self-inquiry, you stay as an uninvolved witness to what is happening in your life, in your thoughts, in your mind, in your emotions. Just be an observer, detached observer. Stay like that. What happens is, because of our tendencies, because of our attachment to things, we slip from this uninvolved witness and becomes involved in that ego role, in ego mode. But the practice is, you come back and you stay as a detached witness to
Yeah.
everything happening. And this is the process, some people get it very easily.
Yes.
For some it might take time. The time it takes also depends on your attachment to things, your desires, your unfulfilled desires, and your attachments, nothing else.
What would
If
you
you
say? What would you say to people who say, like, okay, you're asking us to be detached, you're asking us to do the self-inquiry and things, who will do all this stuff? Like, everybody's running after money, we need materialistic stuff, we need all the houses, and you have to keep up in this life and all these ambitions and everything. If people do, I'm not saying this, I'm just asking you to answer for those who think like that. What do you think? Is there any
I would
balance?
say,
If you're doing
I would say the people who think like that, definitely this teaching is not for them. I would say,
stay
yeah,
away.
yeah.
Yeah, don't.
No, because, but one thing I want to tell you, this is the thing. Ego thinks I am doing, I am the doer. If
The eyes.
I will take, we will get whatever is in our destiny.
Yes.
And
Oh my God. Yes.
the energy for to get that also comes for that.
Yes.
So this egoistic attitude can never get you to that
Yeah.
yourself. So if someone thinks like that, I'm not there to change their mindset. They
Yeah.
can stay like that.
Bhagwan never said that don't go and do your job or don't go and achieve things. He asked you to do those things by leaving that I did this, I and ego, understanding that it is not me doing it and doing it selflessly. That's what he is teaching us. So if you understand and do it, you'll actually do better at your job, whatever the job you're doing. You actually do better. So my next question to you is, I'm sure you must have visited a lot of spiritual places in India, right? So what is the difference, would you say, in your feeling between Arunachalam and you already said that it is the end. Why do you think it is the end? Like, why?
You have to experience it. To know pudding, you have to taste the pudding. If you
Yes.
go there, you imbibe that bliss, then you know. Then I
Yes.
don't have to tell you anything. But
Yes.
just sitting here and saying, look, this is better because of this reason. I would say, for so many reasons, people or a tourist will not go there because the weather is extreme. There's no direct flight, and it's a simple town. It's a simple Indian town. It's not very flashy. Ashram life is very simple. But one thing I would tell you, nobody asks you for any money. There is no donate button or even on their website. And you stay, you eat and you do free. Where would you see something such a generosity and such a simplicity? Where do you see that? I have
Yes.
never seen. This is the beauty. This is the beauty. So there's no solstice. They are not asking for any money from anyone or any help or anything. But the divine help comes, and whatever way it has to go, it still goes on. So
Yes.
this is the thing. This is what we need to understand.
Yeah.
It is the blessing of Bhagwan, blessing of Arunachala. And
Yeah.
same thing we should imbibe. We should, whatever comes in our life, just simply because of our destiny, accept it. But don't run for things, don't seek for things, don't, okay, you asked me that people want to get this, get that. I would just question these people that whom are they getting things? For whom? The answer would be for this body. This body will be dust in few years. It will be dust. And then where would you be? And you are feeding this body. I know people go for a coffee 20 miles and people want this cake. People want to, treat others badly because they want to show importance. What importance? This body will be dust. This body, you are not this body. The moment you understand that you are not this body, all your actions will drop automatically. Because see, from morning till evening, our actions are to pamper this body or its sense organs.
Yes. And this I is, I think, the most, I don't know how to put that word also. Like, I earned this money. It's mine, my house, my food, like, who are you? At the end of the day,
this ego is a ghost. It's an illusion, And the problem is that our identification with the body keeps this ghost alive. The moment we ask, who am I? The answer might come that I am this body. Then say, who is this? Who is saying I am this body? Who is this I? Then the answer will be, I am that I. But who is this I? The moment you ask this question deeply, this I vanishes. It runs away. And the only thing is left is that emptiness, nothingness. And that nothingness is everything, actually. That emptiness is everything.
Yes. So you brought up, there is no Arunachala without, like, when you speak about Ramana Maharshi, you have to speak about Arunachala Shiva. He is considered as the Subramanya Avatara, which is the Kartika Avatara, Ramana Maharshi, because he calls Shiva his Appa. He doesn't call Shiva as Shiva, he calls him Appa. Appa in Tamil means father. So what did you experience in the Arunachaleshwara's temple? What was your experience when you first saw Shiva? Like, in the temple, I know that the hill itself is Shiva, but in the temple, what was your experience like?
In the temple, I would say in the Garbhagriha, it is very, very hot. It is full of energy. You can't stay there for too long.
Yeah.
So that is that. But everywhere they say is a shivling. Every stone in Arunachala is a shivling, So it is imbibing with that pure energy, but you should have those eyes of wisdom to see it.
Yeah. And I think there is this saying where it goes like, only with Arunachaleshwara's permission you can enter Arunachalam also. You can't just go to Arunachalam. You need his permission. So as you said also, like, the Garbhagriha is hot. It's not hot because of the weather or anything, because it's the fire linga. Trust me, until you enter the Garbhagriha, everything is normal. But the heat radiates so, like, you can't stay there for a long time. And he just pulls you towards him. I had a lot of magical experiences in Arunachalam. I'm like, I just forget myself whenever I speak about him. It's like, for me, I call him Appa too. I call Arunachaleshwar Appa too. I don't know why I do that, but I just love him so much. So tell me your experiences when you're doing Girivalam. A lot of people talk about Girivalam is the most important thing you do in Arunachalam, because Ramana Maharshi, Bhagavan, he always asks people, whoever came to meet him, like, did you do Girivalam? Did you do Girivalam? So tell me about Girivalam a little bit, and then your experiences while doing Girivalam.
I'll tell you one of the times when I went with my family. At airport at Delhi, I had a very bad back pain, very severe. I could not even sit in the plane properly. And then when we came, and we had only one night there, so I was not sure what will happen. But I thought I will just do Girivalam, whatever happens. Morning, I woke up and I had no clue what happened to that pain and everything. And I finished all. And my wife said, you cannot do it. You can't even sleep. You can't even sit. So this is the grace. This is the kripa. This is Sharanagati. You just stay in that. And when we do, Arunachala is on your right. We do clockwise, when something is of higher power. And you will notice that no sadhana can get you to yourself as quickly, as easily, as calmly as just doing a Girivalam. Bhagwan not just told people to do Girivalam. He himself used to go with everyone in early days to do Girivalam. And you will not believe that people used to give Diksha to Bhagwan, and after that it was a ritual that Bhagwan will go with them to do a Girivalam with them. And Bhagwan always used to say that you should do Girivalam like a heavily pregnant lady, very, very slow.
Slowly.
Not rush.
Actually, Bhagwan used to do it for 3 days, sometimes 5 days, sometimes, because he used to rest. Nowadays, it's like people finish it in 5 hours maximum. But Bhagavan used to sit in places and he used to look at him, and he used to describe the Arunachaleshwara, the hill, as Dakshinamukha, like the Panchamuka at one place, and then Dakshinamurti at one place. And there is this, I don't know, I think we must have heard this story where Bhagavan was walking down the hill somewhere, and he said that the whole hill itself is Dakshinamurti. Dakshinamurti is none other than Shiva in tapas, in his penance. So, yeah. So did you meet anyone while doing Girivalam? Because now also, for the viewers, to this day and time, I know Ramana Maharshi is not in body there anymore, but he is there as a samadhi in Arunachalam. Today, there are beings whom we cannot describe. They are like the ultimate sages and saints you can meet in Arunachalam. Did you get to meet anyone like that?
When you're doing walking and when you are alone, you can always feel that there is someone walking with you. But I don't want to say more than that.
I know, because I have a story. My family got experience.
Spirituality is a matter of craziness only.
Yes.
A crazy person can get into spirituality.
So we are crazy.
Sari cannot.
Yeah. So did you meet anyone? So did you get that feeling that somebody is walking with you? Okay. Because I heard a lot of stories. There are these very good people who speak in Telugu also, which my language is too. That where sometimes there is this lady who got hurt. There is this person called Chaganti Koteswara. He's very good. He talks about all kinds of spiritualities. And then she got hurt, and some lady, she suddenly came from the forest. The hill it's surrounded by forest, right? And then she tied up from the sari. Immediately, she tied up the foot of that lady, and she vanished. She just came from nowhere. Nobody knows. And there are a lot of experiences devotees got like that in Arunachalam. Me, myself, I was walking up the hill to go to Skandashramam. It was COVID time. So I crossed that mango tree guha. And then I went up to Virupaksha cave and I sat down for meditation. This guy, you won't believe me, he was at about 75 years old or something. He brought a big stick. I never told this in front of the camera before. Today, I really want to share this experience because, trust me, it's real. He came and he put the stick in front of me like, "Dhang." He made a sound and he said, "I came for you." I'm like, "What? Who are you?" And then my husband gave him some money. He thought that somebody, they just want some money. He just pushed away the money. He said, "I came for her. I came to take her up there." And he said, "Meditate for some time." He stood there. He made sure I take my steps properly until Skandashramam. He was like, "Put your foot here, put your foot here." Because we went up from Shakti Theatre. Do you know Shakti Theatre behind? Not from Ramanashramam. There is another way towards Shakti Theatre behind. And I went to Skandashramam and he asked me to sit and meditate. And he said, "Do you want to see Shiva?" I hold his stick, and then he brought me to the place where, this big rock where you meditate and you can see the whole temple and the top of the hill. And he said, "Look at Shiva." I was crying continuously. He took out a pouch from his pocket, and it was a pouch of cheetah print pouch. That leopard print pouches. He took out the vibhuti, which is the bhasma. He put it on him and he put it on me. And he said, "From here, I can't come. You just go." I'm continuously crying. And that day we went to the temple. It was a blissful experience. My son, he's in Australia. He doesn't know all this stuff. He ran back and hugged that guy and came. I asked him, "Why did you do that?" He said, "I don't know, Ma. I felt like he's not someone from this world. I felt like he's someone." He didn't have an answer for that. I shared this experience also because I really wanted to share this with people from very long time, because I want them to understand that it's real. I am skeptical too. I am a logical person too, but it's real. Arunachalam is real. Shiva is real. I don't know, I may sound crazy, but I really want to put this out there and say that I did experience stuff like that.
Look, I hear stories every day. Someone who comes, something miracle has happened. Miracles has to happen. There's so much of energy there. Recently, one of my friends who went there and he had no clue where to go, what to do. And this old man came, met them around Virupaksha, took them all around, showed them everything. All the time they thought he might rob them or he wants money. And he even paid for their auto and some water and all. And then when they were looking into their wallets to give some money, and they were a bit of scared also, he disappeared. They said there was no one there, and then suddenly they couldn't see him. And so he was talking at Bhagwan Jayanti Day among everyone.
Yeah.
So all these things happen. Bhagwan, in his times, whenever they used to have any festivities, Bhagwan used to serve everyone. And people used to say that we will serve. He said, no, I know who comes. I have to meet. There are siddhas, there are yogis. And we all know that on the southern part of Arunachala, Arunagiri Yogi, Shiva himself is there,
Yes.
under the
Yes.
banyan tree. And once Bhagwan wanted to go there, and then he gave up that because of all that, But
Yeah, because he didn't want to disturb the place, the serenity of the place. Yeah.
So I would say, rather than getting more interested in what these miracles and things happens, main thing is to know yourself, which is because mind can be interested in these things, but not that ultimate reality which is in us. That is what it gives you. That is the biggest siddhi, getting you out of the birth and death cycle.
Yeah. But do you ever wonder, like, for someone like 6 months ago or 3 months ago, someone who did not go to Arunachalam, who never heard of that name, suddenly you've been to the place, and the pull it pulls you with, that's like the ultimate. And then you start your self-discovery, like, then you start understanding the life, and then what's happening, what's the reality, and what's the truth. Do you think the journey, how do you describe the journey as? It's not easy. I don't think it's easy. What do you describe the journey as?
I would say that someone who is really inquisitive and longing to know that Shiva in your heart should go on this journey. Otherwise, you will be left in between the two, as a sansari, as a worldly person, and detached. And then a lot of people struggle between the two. You have to choose one. You have to make your choices very clear.
Yeah. Can you please tell me how you're balancing it? Because you're still in
God balances everything. You don't have to. If you balancing, then you are keeping your ego alive.
Yeah.
If I take the responsibility of
balance. That thought, I just wanted to hear that thought, even that, see, me, I believe that even me speaking to you is decided by him. Like, I leave it to that state of, like, I wish everyone, I'm really in my small stages and small steps of, trying and touching Shiva's feet and touching Bhagwan's feet. I would wish that he would put me in that place for all this life, and I want to touch that feet ever. If it's not too close, it's fine, but just that is good. So how does it? How do you relate it, being a doctor, your scientific mind and this mind? Does it ever collide and make you confused? Not now. I understand now. It's not going to do that anymore. I understand that. In the beginning, how did it work?
Look, I think if you see, he is the source. Shiva is the source even of our mind. Mind has no separate existence. If he doesn't want that mind to operate, mind will not operate. In Bhagwan's time, there were people who were really good poets. But the moment they saw Bhagwan, they stopped, could not do in the Venba meter or that poetry. They just lost it. And then there were people, after knowing that self, they started doing bhajans and prayers and everything. So who controls mind, and who controls destiny, and who controls our life? It is that absolute only. When you have complete faith on that, then it takes care of it. You can check on Bhagavad Gita, in Bhagavad Gita written by Sri Krishna, chapter 9, you look verse 22, in which he clearly says that you just pray me, you bhaj me, you just remember me, and I will take all your responsibilities on my shoulder.
Yes.
He doesn't say that I will grant you some. He says he will take care of you. He will make sure for your safety of whatever you have, and I will also make sure that your needs are fulfilled. That is Bhagwan Krishna is saying. I'll tell you another example. Tulsidas ji, who wrote Ramcharitmanas.
Yes.
So he was a simple person living in a hut. So some rich person one day brought some grocery or whatever he brought and put it in hut. So two thieves were seeing that this rich man has come and is kept there. So he thought, those two thieves thought that they will take out this all at night, when Tulsidas ji would be sleeping, because thieves are thieves. They don't care whether you're a saint or a rich. So they decided that at night they both came to rob him. So the moment they came, they found there were two young men, one a bit of a dark complexion, one a fair, and both having an arrow and bow and revolving around the hut. So they thought, oh my God, he's got security guards. So they both then thought they will come after maybe a couple of hours. Then they came a couple of hours after that. Again, it was the same. They came second night. Again, it was the same. They were so scared, and they came next day. They thought it is, I don't know how come we cannot rob them. So they told Tulsidas ji that, we came with that bad intention, but please excuse us, and this looks like some miracle, and please help us. And Tulsidas ji started crying. He said, for this small amount, I am creating trouble to God. Ram and Lakshman are at night doing all this for me. He said, you take away, I'll just distribute to the villagers.
Wow.
So this is the thing, when you have faith, you are remembering the God. God takes care of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And Ramana Maharshi also, he's not one of, I don't want to comment on this is right, this is wrong. You can always do your spiritual journey with materialistic life also, by acknowledging, by accepting. He was someone who just didn't have anything. With that eyes, he has everything in him. It's like he knows everything. That look of Bhagavan itself will be like everything dissolves in your body when you're in front of him. Even now, when I'm looking at the picture of Bhagavan, the way he looks is like it dissolves. You just can't be egoistic. I think you just forget who you are. One thing I want to ask is that when Bhagavan was fighting cancer, we all know that he did fight cancer. But at that stage, even being, I know he's Bhagavan, and he was like, this is the body. The body is getting pain, or the body is the one dealing with it. It's not me. Being that level of detachment, how should we understand that? What should we learn from it, to the least?
Our identification with the body creates suffering. Pain would be there in the body, but no suffering would be there. So pain and suffering are two different things. Same is our interest to get something for the body. If it is needed, it will happen. But if you are doing for sensory indulgence, then it is the attachment. So we should understand what is the need of the body and what is the greed of the body. Greed comes with the attachment, and need is just fulfilled in its usual way. So not just Bhagwan, I'll tell you about Sri Nagamma, who was Bhagwan.
Sri Nagamma was the devotee of Bhagwan.
Yeah. So she was in mid-70s, she developed the cancer exactly at the same place where Bhagwan had, exactly at the same period. And at that time, she was living in Bombay. And the story behind? She came to Bhagwan when Bhagwan was suffering, and she said to Bhagwan, you share everything with everyone. Whatever food anyone brings, you share with everyone. And why can't you share the disease with us? And she prayed and prayed and prayed in front of Bhagwan. And Bhagwan only used one word, hum. She had no clue what hum means, like yes, or just agreeing, or acknowledging. But when in 1975-76 she got the cancer at the same, she realized that Bhagwan humbly accepted her prayer because she wanted to share it. Now she did another prayer to Bhagwan, that Bhagwan, now I've got this, and it was I who wanted it, and I wanted to share that pain, but just give me that strength to endurance for that pain, if I can bear that pain. And that also came to her. She said that was the only prayer I did. And she got, and she had no clue how it will go through, but then it melted away. And then for next 2 years she was able to move. She came to Ramana ashram, and after that she died. What I'm trying to tell you is that all what we pray to Bhagwan gives everything enough, and he tries to make us understand, even in suffering. Suffering is sometimes very important for us to understand, that to ask this question, who is suffering?
Yes.
Because suffering to the body or to the mind is not suffering to us.
Yes.
It is our identification with it which makes us feel that we are suffering.
Yes. In that detailedness, when you said pain and suffering, if you observe keenly, pain, yes, it is paining to you. But do you choose to suffer? Is when you choose that this is me, that ego is getting hurt because of that pain. That's when you suffer. So when you just leave it at that, that's when you don't suffer. I think, isn't that the small detail difference? It's not that it's not hurting for Bhagwan. Of course it's hurting, because there were, I think, insects also eating the wound, and they had to clean Bhagwan's wound constantly, right? So that small detail, if we can apply it into the smallest details of life, I think it's that itself answers everything. And there is this story also where there is a thief, he hit Bhagwan, right? And then Bhagwan was like, what happened? There is nothing, you don't have to do anything to him. Like, can you please explain that in your words? I want to hear it from you.
So the thieves broke in and they thought these people might be having money, but they had no money, they were
because
just...
it's an ashram, he thought he'll have a lot of money.
It was just huts. There was not a proper ashram.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And sometimes there was no food even to eat. But when they did all that, what these thieves have to do, some people got angry and they thought they should teach a lesson to these thieves and beat them. And Bhagwan said, no, they are thieves and we are saints. So if a sannyasi is doing what a thief is doing, then what is the difference between us? So at the end, Bhagwan said, if you want to eat, we have some food, you can eat and then you can go. And also when the police at the end caught the thieves and they came to Bhagwan to identify, Bhagwan said, I don't know. So he was so humble to even the people who were... So some people were very sad that they thrashed Bhagwan, with stick. And Bhagwan said, you praise all the time, so someone has to balance it.
Wow. Wow.
That is not equanimity. Bhagwan is in that equanimity which we all can be if we touch our own blissful self. And this issue with suffering and pain to the body and all this is because we are in the ego mode attached to the body mind. The moment we start doing self-inquiry, self-attention, and trying to abide in our pure silence, all this will sort out on its own. We don't need to read too many books also. Practice is more important than reading books, because books are at intellectual level. Once you know what you need to do, then just do it. Then yes. Try to practice to stay in the self.
Can you give a small detail, like this is how you should do it? Give me a small example in a day-to-day life, and then the difference of doing it without ego, because trust me, the ego is the worst thing happening right now to everyone.
When we wake up in the morning when we wake up, it's the mind which is in a state of waking. Our state never changes. Our state is that awareness, that emptiness, which is aware of these three states in which the body changes because of the mind. Now mind is in the waking. The mind in the waking, a thought comes and it wants you to do this or that. You stay as the observer, as a witness to whatever the body is doing. A thought is coming. It is like you are behind the scene. You are the screen and you're just watching it. If you understand what I'm trying to tell you, if you start practicing it, you keep slipping away because some thoughts are very intense with emotions and they will pull you. But if you keep practicing, you will start noticing that you can survive even with any type of thought, and you don't have to act on those thoughts. You don't have to be slave of your mind. And once this gap comes between you and the mind, you have won half the battle. Then throughout the day, you have to stay as a detached witness to whatever is happening. Someone is arguing, someone is doing something you don't like. And just in staying as an observer, all likings, dislikings, attachments, desires, apprehensions become so clear, because this is the best place from where the whole picture is so clear. The more you stay first with efforts, then it becomes natural, because that is our natural state. Body is not our natural state. So the practice, how long the practice has to be continued? Till it becomes effortless. And for how long the practice needs to be done? Morning you wake up till you go to bed. So it's a practice in the whole waking time. It's not like you sit for 1 minute or 1 hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. It is the constant practice. When this constant practice, let's say I want to because a lot of people think meditation is for 5 minutes or 1 hour or 2 hours. The problem is that, okay, you can start like that. But the problem is if you spend another 12 hours in all egoistic mode and doing all that nonsense with your ego, then the effect of the 2 hours might last for 6 hours, and then that another 6 hours you are in the ego mode, and then
yes.
you have earned in that meditative state, you have already lost everything.
Okay.
So,
So,
better
so
to
for like example, let's say somebody said something really bad to you. Okay, you got hurt, but so at that point, what the mind should be doing is that who got hurt. First question, is that how you do it? Like, who got hurt here and who said it, and the response. So for the practice, tell me, like, the response should be like, so should I act on it immediately, or okay, it what happened to you, like did you get, like, how do you initially, like, step by step, how do you dissect it and get it into practice? Let's say somebody said something really bad to you and it got hurt. That first time when you're doing it, oh, it's me who got hurt, but it's not easy, you will get hurt. So how do you practice that, like, step by step?
Okay, so to practice it, you should practice in the peaceful time, not in the warfare time. Like
No,
any,
I want in the warfare type, because see, the
yeah.
more,
No, no,
yeah.
but to start, your
Oh,
practice
to
should
start.
start.
Okay, right.
Because, the country which wins the war is the one who is practicing during the peaceful time. So your practice should be there in the morning. Morning, there's no one. You are on your own. You are in solitude. You sit in your prayer room, in your meditation room, or wherever you have space where you are just on your
Or
own.
you just don't wake up and then do it and then wake up from your bed. Is that okay?
You can do anywhere, just
Okay.
get out, and then you are not with people. You stay in that awareness where it's now easy because there's no one arguing with you,
Yes.
nothing. You get solidify yourself in that observer. Then you move out, then you do things, you wash dishes, or you have a shower, or you cook meals, or whatever. Again, we spend so much of time just on our own, not with anyone else. In that time, you can just be with that self, that awareness, not with your thoughts, not just thinking all the time, then I have to do this, I have to do this, whatever, or someone said to me this. Because at that moment, you have precious time to stay with yourself. So you can stay in your heart just as a witness. Witness is also not a good word, because what are you witnessing? There's nothing to witness. Like witnessing thoughts, then you get involved in thoughts.
Yes.
Just be. And and then let's say at the end of the day, when you're witnessing everything is fine, someone argues with you. Now you have gained that strength to be detached. So you can see what is happening. Because the one who is arguing with is not arguing with you, he's arguing with this body mind. And this body mind's habit. And this body mind must have done something stupid before. That's why he's arguing now. He has a story of this body mind. He doesn't know that now you know that you are not body mind. You are pure awareness. But that person doesn't know. So you should have more compassion for that person, because he's getting fooled by your body mind.
Yeah.
So just be in your silence, and then how long a person can abuse you? How long? When there's no reaction coming from you, then the person will stop, and then he may or may not admit his mistake, but he will find peace in you if you're not arguing, if you don't have that negative energy. And that is the winning. The moment you win these small battles in life, in a way, by your silence, you gain that strength. Then you understand how foolishly I used to fight and then argue and then feel upset and all this thing. There's nothing to done. Like, these are images coming in this of this world, coming from the projection of your own mind. There's nothing external. Even when we say how to deal with people, people are coming from your own mind. They're not external. When you wake up, the whole world comes. And when you go into deep sleep, everything goes away.
Okay, so you have to practice being in deep sleep by actually not being in deep sleep, literally.
Yeah, that is Jagrat Sushupti. Jagrat Sushupti is that state in which you are awake, but your behavior is as if you're in deep sleep, non-reacting to anything. And it will come. If you're Bhagwan's devotee, it has to come to you.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Yes. Oh, that's a really good explanation. But we have to touch this topic as well. See, people lose people. And there are diseases which some people, they can take their pain. I'm trying to go to the detachment phase here. Okay. We understood that how to deal with it. So the detachment, it's not easy, that also. So how we should handle that if when a person loses somebody, or your kid is really sick that you can't help in any ways, just to watch. How should you practice that kind of, in the same manner? If you do this, automatically this detachment also comes?
Yes, exactly right. Because this is only you're saying the person and its attachment. So this person is a fake. That ego is fake. That I thought is fake. So when you stay as awareness, then you realize that there is no attachment to anything. When there is no attachment to this body mind, how then it will be attached to other projections of the mind? Because all our relatives, family, friends, they are only projection of our own mind. So when you are detached to your mind, then you're detached with everything. So it is all or none law. You don't have to work for different things at different levels. That now I have to detach with kids, now I have to detach with the spouse. Now there's no need. Once you stay in awareness, I'll tell you, in that detached awareness, you will do better with your family also. Without that attachment, you can fulfill your responsibilities in a better way. Because sometimes, because of
can you elaborate that a little bit, that point there, like being detached and you're actually helping your family?
being detached, you see them unbiased. You don't see from a biased point of view, always praising your kids even when they are wrong. Everyone thinks their kid is the smartest, taking their sides when they are wrong, because of attachment only. And sometimes even neglecting their wrongdoings and not telling them on their face, because of attachments. Sometimes we do like this. Even if someone is sick or you have to heal, you have to do work, you can do better work when you are emotionally not attached. Then you are much more, appears to be more calmer and peaceful, which you can impart to the sick child also. So it's not that if I'm not attached, then I can't serve my family. You will serve better. Without attachment, you serve better.
So with attachment, what kind of mistakes do you think we will do? More damage. Actually, you're correct in that point, saying that by attachment, actually we are causing damage, because whenever you feel that my kids, my husband, that's where the anger comes in. Like, I have to change this. I have to say something. So can you tell, like, how much damage are we causing because of the attachment?
Mainly is your emotional damage. All the time you're thinking about that, going in your mind in thoughts. How would you do self-inquiry if all the time your mind is going into the kids and family? First thing is your sadhana cannot occur. You cannot know yourself. You're so attached to things. And the secondly is that attachment makes everything biased. Sometimes you don't see things as they are. You see from the filter of your attachments. Because let's say you go and your kid is having a tennis match and something and is losing, you go, oh, why you're losing? Why can't you play better? And sometimes you will start finding fault in the other player. While it's just a game, two people are playing, whoever wins, plays better will win. Who cares? At the end of the day, the whole thing is lila. Everything is a play only. But even in a play, we become so serious. And some I've seen sometimes parents in between the matches, they go and they start saying something to their kids and they get so annoyed, and coming back home they will be having a bit of a fight with the kid. What is this? This is all attachment. Otherwise it will never happen. Are you doing the same with the other kid?
No, we can't. You can't.
Because of attachment we are doing this. Because we are so much attached. It's not unbiased.
Exactly. Oh my God. Okay, I took it in the fun way, but that's so true when you said you can't do it to the other kid because you're not attached to the other kid. It's not just because it's somebody else's kid and you don't. Oh, wow. Okay.
So look, you can serve your family better when you are in that loving kindness, because that energy, that Shiva in all of us is unconditional. And love, often attachment is always conditional. If your kids don't love you, they hate you, they don't obey you, you will start disliking them. I know there are families in which father doesn't talk to son or son doesn't talk to mother, and all these issues happens in families only.
That's because of attachment? Is that because of attachment?
Yeah, because of attachment, because we are attached, because this attachment is not pure love. It is not, it's a conditional love. If you love me, then I love you.
It's egoistic love.
Yeah. So it is all conditioned by our mind. Unconditional is always pure. It is Sadashiva. It is not, if you love me, then I love you. Even if you hate me, I will love you. And that you can see in Bhagwan all the time.
In some conditions, in some rare examples, there are like, you tried so many times often that you want to be human enough and this unconditional. Is it okay to love from distance also when the other person doesn't understand you? That's okay, right?
Send blessings, send love.
Yeah, good. Yeah. So why about Shiva now? He's said to be the destruction, the destroyer, all these things. How do you look at, what is your...
He's the creator, and he's the one who sustains, and he's the one who destroys. Yes. And he puts ignorance in our mind, and he takes up the wheel of that ignorance away.
Exactly.
All
See,
the time.
but the notion generally is the destroyer notion.
Destroyer of
What
your
is
ego.
destroying? What is he destroying is the point where we need to concentrate, but that is what is missing. So what is Shiva destroying?
Destroying your ego
Yes.
and merging you in. He wants
Him.
you to be that
In
pure
him.
Shiva. Yeah. He's not destroying anything. He's destroying what is wrong in us. And it is like jaws of a lion. If you enter, it will just finish off you. You read Aksharman Malay about from Bhagwan. It
I
is all
do.
about that.
I
You just
do.
finish me. You finish
Yes.
me.
Yes. Yes.
And if you don't finish me, I will finish this body with my tears. I will melt away.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just pure love.
Yeah. I read Aksharam Malai. I think it's written by Ramana Maharshi. It's said by Ramana Maharshi. He sang it while doing Girivalam.
Trying to learn a bit of Tamil to understand.
Okay, I get it. As I already spoke to you before, I don't know why I understand Tamil and I don't know why I speak Tamil. I don't know the connection between me and Tamil. I just love Tamil. That's all. In Aksharamana Malai also, where he sometimes describes as, I want you to hold me like a ghost. Did you read that line? As ghost, how it doesn't leave you. He's asking the God to hold him like that. Can please describe Shiva for me in one sentence? What is Shiva?
Satchitananda.
Describe that too. Describe Satchidananda too.
Satchitananda means he is the truth, he is the reality. Not what this is going around us. It's a dream. It's only projection of the mind. It is an illusion. He is the truth. He is the reality. And he is Chit. It's consciousness. It's pure consciousness, alive. It's fresh. It's this moment only. It's always the same. And it's bliss. It's pure bliss. Ananda. Peace. That's all it is. You cannot describe more than that. That is all it is. And if you come close to him, you will get all these three. Satchitananda. That's
If you come close to him, it's hard. It's like it's just
only the mind is saying like that. You have to surrender and just
just surrender. That's all. Like you don't exist. How Ramana Maharshi has described, like melt away. That melting, and then there is no you. It's just I don't know how to put it. It's not you going and mixing into him or him taking you. It's that you don't exist. You just melt in front of Shiva. There's nothing more than that. I was a Balaji Bhakt initially when I was devotional. I don't know what happened suddenly to me. And then when I used to go to Shivalayams, we call Shivalayam, the Shiva Mandir, we call Shivalayam in Telugu. And then it's normal, like everybody go pray and come. Now when I see him, it's just, I can't even describe how I feel. It starts melting from inside, not the outside, from inside. He just takes you. I hope this podcast is understandable to the people who can understand it. And then I hope you can be as detached, and please practice how Sanjay ji has just explained to us. It's going to help us all. Anything more, Sanjay ji, you want to add to this?
Just grace is with you. So I think just anyone who is longing to know the self, abide in pure self, it will happen. Practice will come on its own, and whatever help has to come will come on its own. You just remember that. Remember what Krishna is saying. Krishna is not a separate person saying something. It is that same absolute, whether you
And
call
Krishna and Shiva are one. Don't think they're two. They're one.
Same. Before coming to Bhagwan, I used to be a Ram Bhakt and Hanuman Bhakt. So
High five there.
it is the same. So it is the same. There's no difference. It's all the same. No difference. So you stay and continue with your sadhana, with your practice.
Any advice to people who want to go to Tiruvannamalai, Arunachalam? Any advice?
No advice. Just go there and just get absorbed. Do parikrama, stay at the temple, and go with the flow. Don't have too much of plans. Just go.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva.
Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Arunachal Ramanaya Om. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.